a DC motor which would be controlled using the Arduino IDE code. So I have written a source code here. So let's understand it a bit. So the speed in RPM as shown here is directly proportional essentially to the applied voltage across the DC motor, which is again proportional to the PWM speed. So as shown here, I have taken an input of 200. In the void setup function, I have taken the 12th output pin as my output. It's connected to the input 1 pin as well. We have kept the pin 8 for output in the low configuration to disable the break. As shown in the diagram here, that input pin 6 is connected to the input pin 4, which is kept as the output for ENA. In the void loop function, I've used the function analog write, taking one parameter as input from the 6th pin and the other as the PWM declared here. That would essentially control the RPM at which my motor would settle. I've already compiled the code. Now let's try to run the code in the schematic capture. So like zoom out a bit and then running the simulation. So I have kept the value of PWM as 200. And let's see, it would settle down at somewhere in between 30 or 35, I believe.
That's what I'm saying. We have Chinese yeah, it's true. In that case, it should be. But this is a generalization. Like what you're asking is like a generalization of let's say we stick to this, for example, we stick to this one, and then when we derive some relations.
So it settled down at 20.6. Now let's change the PWM value to, let's say 255, which is the maximum value it may take. Compile it again. So we compiled the file, it compiled successfully. Now let's run it. So it settled down at 76. Open my dashboard. Select at least 2 sliders. Then I would pick up one gauge and one more is a chart. Let's rename them. So we will label it as water slider. Okay, and let's take its maximum range to 100. And let's edit this. Let's edit this. Okay, so we have kept its name as water level dashboard. That's everything cool. Let's update it. Update it again. And we have step 1, so it's done. Now let's rename the gauge. So you have to keep the water level group as its default. Now we have the type as gauge. Now we'll take it max to 100, and this would be kept to 25. This would be kept to 75. Okay, it's done. Now let's connect this. Now the second slider will be again kept in the same group so that we can view them together. Let's rename this as cache pressure control. It's done. Now for the chart, I would like to select a bar graph. Well, let's select a vertical bar chart, and we'll rename this as the gas pressure chart. E chart, let's say. So It's done. Now let's connect these two and let's deploy it. So that was successfully deployed. Now we have the gas pressure control. So we may see the bar chart rising up, which is showing it in centimeter units. So before 25 it was green, then it turned yellow, and then it turned red. So that